Hey guys, welcome to New Society, and I'm your host, Carlos Jean-Michel. With me is a special co-host, Jordan Peterson. Welcome.
I'm back.
So today we are discussing education, which I think is very fitting because when you figure relationships, eventually children, eventually education. However, I still think it comes full circle in regards to we were all educated once, and I feel like we all have very strong opinions about the education that we received in school. So here we go. We're going to dive right in. I have a quote from the famous Albert Einstein that says as follows: "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing it is stupid."
Well said.
There's nothing else to say. With that said, parents. Education starts before the classroom. And that's our episode. Good night, everybody. Thank you. I honestly feel like there's not much else to say after that. I feel like that kind of sums it up. But I'll go in. So I love that. I actually came across a post the other day. I can't recall who posted it, but it was something to the effect, I believe I posted it on my Instagram, on the New Society with 3s instead of E's on Instagram. On the New Society Instagram. What does it say? It says, imagine if schools actually helped kids identify their strengths by exploring their talents from a young age and growing their skills over the 12 years instead of letting them all follow the same routine like sheep and leaving them confused in life after graduation. I don't know about you, but I could totally relate to that.
Yeah.
I feel like it is absurd, and it's kind of where the whole we don't live in a one-size-fits-all society kind of happened for me.
Yeah.
Like, why is it that every single individual, and I'm going to be, this is New Society, I'm focusing on the U.S. Unfortunately, I'm not as well-traveled as I'd like to be, so I don't want to be ignorant and try and talk about things that I don't know about. Mm-hmm. But in the U.S. specifically, I think it's ridiculous that we're all expected to go to school and learn the exact same things, which I believe world history, U.S. history, certain things, absolutely. Math, sciences, for sure, those should be taught. However, I love the schools for the performing arts because it allows you to explore things, and it's frustrating to me because you have to go to a special school to explore things that aren't part of the standardized curriculum. We do not live in a one-size-fits-all society. It makes no sense to me. It doesn't at all.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why we do it. So I kind of I've been trying to figure out how exactly to share all this with you, because I have this really great script, if you will. However, I'm not, it's a lot to memorize.
Yeah. And
I wasn't trying to do that. So I'm just going to read from my script, and hopefully I'll do a decent job honoring it. Like I said, I took a peek at last week's episode, even though I'm not supposed to be doing that anymore. And I didn't like how much I was looking down at the computer, but...
You're still looking down at the computer, sir.
Can I finish my thought?
Well, finish your thought.
I agree with you. I don't like that I'm looking down at the computer, but here we are.
Yeah, I feel that.
All right. So it says... Parents, aunts, uncles, godparents, etc. We want our kids happy. We want them successful. From my perspective, I approach this the same way that, in school, I feel like I knew the best way for me to study. I 100% knew, hands down, the best way for me to do it. I loved the concept of every single student starts off the semester with an A. And it's up to you whether you maintain that A or you allow it to drop to an F. and everything in between. And for me, it's just slow and steady wins the race. After every single class, study the notes. Pay attention in class. After class, go over the notes. That night, go over the notes again. And then, kind of like just allot a certain amount of time to go over everything. Is it time consuming? Absolutely. As kids, it's your full-time job. School is your full-time job. And unfortunately, I feel like a lot of kids get into the habit of not wanting to do that, and they focus on other things, and that's where you get in trouble. But I mean, for me, I don't know. I feel like, for athletes, for example, that work ethic and that ability to prioritize and, time management and whatnot is great. But for the most part, I feel like I knew the best way for me to study. And it was really hard to execute it. But with that said, that's kind of how I'm looking at education in regards to allow your kids to play. Kids love playing. And somehow, somewhere along the way, adults forgot what that felt like. Even though adults love playing just as much as kids do.
Yeah.
They just convince themselves that they don't. Which makes no sense to me because I feel like that's where the disconnect is. I feel like so often as adults, we cut ourselves off. As soon as, from my perspective, the world sinks their teeth into your mind, into your imagination, into your ability to just go off and just create as a 5-year-old, as a 6-year-old, as a 7-year-old. And as children, watching Disney, watching these cartoons and whatnot, you believe in magic. You believe in, things that your average adult doesn't believe in. And I think I mentioned this in another episode. I believe it is in the credits, in the advertisements for the show Euphoria on HBO. There's a line where I think it's one of the dads in the series is talking to one of the kids. It's just a promo clip. I haven't watched the series yet, but it's something to the effect of how the dad is talking to a child and basically says, your generation just doesn't care about the consequences as much. And I don't know what he says after that, but the impression that I got was he's envious. He admires that. And to me, that's where the old society meets the new society, and we've passed the point where the old rules don't apply anymore. And I feel like the only reason that they're still in play is because people haven't figured it out yet. However, I'm fascinated because I feel like it's a generational thing. I feel like the older generation is still trying to apply this old society thinking. And we live in a new society now. And this is the 6th episode?
It's been a lot.
So I feel like I'm going to get repetitive, and I apologize for that. But
They need to hear it, though. People need to hear this.
Exactly. I watched a really awesome episode, or a really awesome YouTube video a couple of years ago, and I have not been able to find it since, but it basically talked about how, statistically speaking, this is as of 2009, this was the safest time to be alive in history. The formula for children being the best child they can be, to me, is encourage your kids to play. Encourage them to go. I mean, I feel like beyond a certain point, this is a very generalized statement. I feel like video games are kind of a given. Obviously, take that with a grain of salt. It's household specific. There are parents who are like, nope, not in my house, the end. However, I feel like for your average house, video games are a given, which is fine. I find that video games are very encouraging in the sense of there are a lot of... I see video games as brain teasers. It definitely flexes certain, hand-eye coordination, strategic thinking, etc., etc. With that said, video games aside, get them out of the house. Get them doing everything. Get them playing board games. Get them doing puzzles. Get them playing on the field. Get them doing all kinds of games, because as a kid, games are fun. They're exciting, especially when children, their whole reason for being is understanding the world that they live in. I mentioned my godson was here a couple of months ago, and it was so fascinating and exciting, and I was in awe of him in the sense that he was going around the house and just observing everything. You know, I think he's about to be 3 in August, and this was back in February. And he was here, and he was just, you know, he hadn't been in the house before, but he was identifying the things that he knew. So he was like doorknob, cup, water, juice, closet, TV. And it was so cool because he wasn't talking to me. Mm-hmm. He was just observing.
Yeah. And
just understanding. Or maybe he was talking to me. I don't know. But it was just fascinating because I feel like the Terrible Twos is just a time of pushing boundaries. And it's nothing personal. I don't think that, you know, they're like, Mom and Dad, I'm going to fuck you up today. The end. I don't think it's that at all. I think it's just that, what were you going to say?
Nothing.
I think it's that they're just exciting, and they're exploring, and they're understanding, and they have words, and they know words, and they're excited about words. And like I said before, education begins before the classroom, and maybe it goes without saying, but I feel like, how often do people think that? In a nutshell, there's a Bruce Lipton video, I believe it's 7 minutes long, I will post it in the comments below, where he talks about how the first 7 years of life, the human brain is in a state of theta. And in a nutshell, they're in a state of recording. They're just in a state of observance. And I feel like my interpretation of that is just that they're learning from experience. Mm-hmm. Children's, like every individual person's understanding of the world is what they taste, see, touch, smell. Is that it? There's supposed to be 5 senses, but you know what I mean. That's their understanding of the world. And your immediate family, your parents, your siblings, your cousins, whoever it is that you're spending the majority of your time with, they're helping shape that child's understanding of the world. And to me, that's what I mean by education begins before the classroom. Because yeah, you go and, you know, eventually you'll be in preschool and you'll be in kindergarten, and you'll have teachers who are educating you. And do not get me wrong, I firmly believe that teachers have the number 2 most important job on the planet, which is literally educating the future. You're educating tomorrow. You're educating future diplomats, future scientists, future teachers, future, you name it. And the number 1 most important job in the world is for parents. Mm-hmm. You know, like, you're the first, that immediate family. And so with all that said, allow your kids to play, encourage them, excite them, engage with them, and just observe. Observe what they like. Observe what they don't like. Find patterns, and as far as I'm concerned, throw everything at them. Figuratively speaking.
Jesus.
Thank you. God. Throw everything at them. Throw video games. Throw board games.
Don't throw anything at your children, please, don't.
Metaphorically speaking.
You didn't say that. Continue. I'm just seeing something completely different.
I would never promote violence on another human being. When I say throw, I say encourage, I say introduce, I say, you know, allow them to explore, etc. Video games, board games, basketball, football, baseball, all the balls, volleyball, etc. And, bro.
Okay. Just let me do my thing. You do your thing.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. I'll grab some water. But just observe. Observe what they gravitate towards. Observe what they reject. Observe what excites them, what doesn't excite them.
And listen.
And listen. Pay attention. Watch how they interact with other kids. Watch how they, let's see, what do I say here? And puzzles, catch, math games, and science games. Because by the time you get to the curricular games, math, words, and laws of science, as long as you do it right, games are fun. What kid doesn't want to play games? Then encourage games like Operation, cards, more sports, gymnastics, for boys and girls. We don't live in a, gymnastics are for this, and, this kind of sport is for this. Encourage. Exactly.
Yeah. When
exactly.
I was younger, I did gymnastics. It was fun.
Like, how many times have you heard about football players? Like their coaches force them to go to ballet class just to teach hand-eye coordination and body and just understanding your body and whatnot. Let's see. Where I'm going with this is, if the goal is actual, genuine, true happiness, unless safety or strong mores are at risk, and mores is a sociology term. Mores are basically things that are frowned upon in your society. Unless things like that are at risk, just let them go off and do their thing and just pay attention. And have them give everything a fair shot. Because what you're looking for is important. What you're looking for is them, who they are. And in play, from my perspective, is where you'll find them. Pay attention to everything. How they play, what they play, with whom they play. Pay attention to how long they play what games. How they play with others. Their level of courtesy and consideration. What they gravitate towards, what they get sick of. And keep watching. And then I say, hold on, I'm almost there. Because this is a lot. From there, get them into schooling, of course. Make school just as important as play. By now, they're constantly growing and trying. Let me bridge this gap a little bit. Hold on a second, guys. Thank you for your patience. Growing and trying new things. Learning rules of the game. And doing all of this with others. So school should be fun. And pay even more attention. What you're looking for is the future adult in your child. And while they're going, and where they're going will have the biggest impact. And let me explain how. I then go on to say, when you're playing, you're happy. No matter what is going on in the world, it does not exist for that chunk of time. I can relate. When I was an athlete in college, because I wasn't allowed to play sports before college, I could have been dealing with dating. I could have been dealing with family problems at home. I could have been dealing with inadequacy. I could have been dealing with insecurities, whatever it was. However, for me personally, I loved cheer. I loved being part of a program. I'm grateful because we were super competitive. So for me, there was a huge level of responsibility where walking into that gym, every single other person who was in that gym waiting for me or walked in after me were counting on me to show up and have my shit together. So for me, it was a responsibility involved where I had to make sure that whatever was going on was left at the door before I walked in. And for me, that was incredible. And what blew me away was that there were days when I'd walk into that gym and I would be like, I don't know if I can do this today. I haven't slept in 3 days.
3 days? Oh no.
Oh yeah, it was awful. It was awful.
Jesus.
I mean, between practice, games, competition, and everything else that was involved, on average, we were together working out in some form or another 30 plus hours a week. Not including being in classes, not including working, not including family life, not including, everything else that goes along with being a college student. So there were days when I'd be walking in and I'd just be like, I got 3 hours of sleep last night. I got 3 hours of sleep the night before. I got 3 hours of sleep the night before that. I'm exhausted. It's Wednesday. I still have tonight's practice, and then I have Thursday night's practice, and then we have games all weekend long. Like, I don't know if I can do this. However, as soon as I walked in, and as soon as I warmed up, and I was probably 30 minutes into practice, I 100% consistently forgot about whatever I was stressed out about before I walked into that gym. It was amazing. It was incredible. Getting back to my script. When you're playing, you're happy. For me, that was kind of like playing. I was stressed and it was work and it was exhausting, but it was fun. I loved it. So when you're playing, you're happy. No matter what is going on in the world, it does not exist for that chunk of time. And if you really like what you're playing, you can lose sleep, not eat, not care much about hygiene. Am I right?
Hygiene?
Hygiene.
Oh.
I don't know what hygiene is.
I don't know. Don't worry about it.
What if your child could make a living doing something they love that much? When you love something, give me a sec. When you love something, you want to get good at it. When you're good at something, you want to master it. How much do masters of engineering get paid? This is just a generalized question. And this is not to be mistaken with attaining a master's degree. What about a master video game designer? A master's in video game design? Or a master builder, a master chef, a master mathematician, gardener, basketball player, seamstress, hairstylist. Why can't it be that simple? If you have someone who loves puzzles, I'm certain that there's something that goes along with science as far as figuring out puzzles, like a part of the personality, a part of the brain that I'd like to think you know where I'm going with this.
I do.
Perfect. I am excited to see in this new society, which is still, the dust is still settling, there are still, alternate factors that aren't even being considered that are still falling into place. I'm excited to see a world where schools specialize in things. And it's not just like 1 or 2 schools in a state, or, like you have to fly across the country to find this specialized school. If the goal is to prepare children for the world, because I also think that's super important too. I remember hearing stories of home ec classes and cooking classes and sewing classes and stuff like that, which to me makes sense. Like, you need to know how to cook. And I know so many people who don't know how to cook. I'm amazed, living here in San Diego, my group of friends, my San Diego tribe I call them, everyone knows how to cook. The guys just as much as the girls. Oftentimes the guys more than the girls.
Oh.
It blows me away in the best way possible. Like, it's such a, like people don't know how to cook eggs. What? They don't know how to cook pasta. They don't know how to cook rice. I don't know how to cook rice. I had no idea how to cook rice. I bought a rice cooker. And keep in mind, both my mom and my dad are phenomenal cooks. Like, it just, you go to school, you learn math, you learn science, you learn physics, you learn history, you learn, even as I say it, I'm bored. I don't even want to say these words. I just feel like if the goal is to set the next generation up for success, we dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah.
And we all, as individuals, know what that feels like. Graduating high school, didn't have a clue. Graduated college was better. I went to a 5-year school. Co-op was a thing. A huge part of the curriculum was working in a job for class credit where you're in your field. You know, just getting a taste for what it is that you're going to school for. As far as I'm concerned, that's amazing, because you want to see if you like it or not. You want to see if you vibe with it. You want to see if it fits, like, if you like it or not. End of discussion. It's that simple. And that's great, but I feel like, I don't know, back in the day, like, the whole apprenticeship thing made sense to me. Why did we go away from that? And I'm sure that there's some logical blah, 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 or, you know, reasoning behind it, or maybe there isn't. But the bottom line is that, again, if you want to set your kids up for success, set them up for success. And I feel like up until now, the school system has failed so many students who just don't know. They don't know. To this day, I'm calling my mom, asking her about things. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm certainly not the only one. And again, if I'm going to start repeating myself, but if the goal is success, come on, schools, step it up. You're not doing your job so far. I just really like the idea, like I said, of discovering at a very, like, imagine being 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old and having a fire inside of you for what it is that you love. Whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball, whether it's football, whether it's video games, whether it's art, whether it's being an esthetician with health and beauty, whether it's being a dietitian with like the human body and just being healthy and maximizing it and you know, treating it like a machine, whether it's fitness, whether it's fashion, whether it's you know, being a hairstylist, like whatever it is. I feel like we need to stop forcing people to funnel into a preset career. Engineering, computers, math, English, like literature. It just, we don't live in a one-size-fits-all society. I don't know why we keep forcing it down everyone's throat. And for the friends that I have who are parents now, I know you vibe with this. I know it makes sense to you. I know you get it. And I know that you're not the only ones. So, going back to the ancestral karma episode where I mentioned what the U.S. was meant to be. It was meant to be a melting pot. It was meant to be the land of the free, the land of opportunity, the land where you can reinvent yourself and you have a front row seat to your future and how you create it. And we're so not there, or we haven't been for so long. And I don't understand why we haven't figured out that it's supposed to be a land, what is it, of the people, for the people, and by the people. You elect your officials. We vote for the president. We vote for elected officials. If we vote for someone and they're not cutting it, we have the power to get them the fuck out and put someone else in. And we're not doing that. And I don't know, I feel maybe it's something as simple as people just forgetting that we have that power. But that's what we're supposed to be. And when it comes, I don't know, this just came to mind. Things like racism, things like prejudice, things like just judging someone for something, judging people for being different from you. We're a melting pot. We're supposed to be different. It's literally why we were created. Italians, Jewish, African, Jamaican, Dominican, Korean, how many countries are there? Like, all of them. We're all supposed to be able to live in harmony And and that's not what's going on today. And what's crazy is that as different as we all are, we all have one thing in common. We all bleed red. We're all from the planet. We're all just trying to make our way, live good lives, and find what we individually deem happiness. That's it, people.
Merrick. I bet I'm gonna vote for you, president. When's the next election?
Bro, I'm currently watching Madam Secretary on Netflix.
Yeah.
Fire
You told
show.
me.
I totally forgot how much I love Téa Leoni. My favorite Téa Leoni memory is in Fun with Dick and Jane with Jim Carrey. That movie was so fun. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's free somewhere. Or it's probably like $1.99. I have Prime, it's probably on there, but she's so good. And she is so fire in this series, and I feel like I'm learning so much about the education, or about politics, about our country, how it's run, like foreign affairs, etc. It's so good. And why did I bring all this up?
Because you're passionate about it.
I am very passionate about it.
Yeah, and it's teaching you something.
It's teaching me so many things that it's so hard for me to put into words right now. But it blows my mind that I'm a very ignorant person about a lot of things, so if I'm wrong, feel free to call me out, but gently. I feel like we're the little brother of the planet.
What?
Our country, the US. We're the runt of the globe.
That's what they want you to think.
I'm not done.
Yeah.
We just happen to be swole. And we put our money where our mouth is. As far as I'm concerned, it's because we're a little bit not all there enough to realize how kamikaze we are with a lot of things. So we put our money where our mouth is. We're powerful. We're strong. I just want to see us live up to that potential, and I feel like we haven't been doing it for a long time. I feel like we haven't been doing it for a long, long time. This whole thing of mental illness, this whole thing, people suffering from anxieties, people suffering from clinical depression, people suffering from, all these things. I feel like it's a product of us just not being taught to be who we are. Stop listening to the news. Stop listening to your friends. Stop listening to social media. Stop. Listen to your goddamn self, because that's the only person who knows. It's the only person who knows who you are. The only person. My best friend on the face of the planet, Michael Timothy Brady, I love you so much. I need to get back to your text. You texted me earlier. As close as we are, we literally have been in situations where we haven't had a talk to communicate. He still doesn't know me as well as I know myself. I want to see us learning how to be best friends with ourselves. I want us to be our own best friends, because that's the only person who knows you. The end. Period. And I don't know. I am Candace. This girl, what she means to me. We're having a conversation in the middle of quarantine last year, 2020, and we were talking about I was talking about being a parent and how moving out here, that was a huge thing for me, because when I moved out here I was 34. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I've always wanted a family, I've always wanted children, whatnot, but I'm hitting the reset button. I don't know how that's going to go for me. I don't want to be 50, I don't want to be 60 and then start to have kids. I have very strong feelings about that, and we will discuss all of that in the ageism episode. Stay tuned. But she kind of just shut me up, and she was like, nope, you need to have children. She's like, you need to have children. You need to pass on your education, your understanding of the world, how you see it, how you interact with it, what you've experienced, on to the next generation. Like that needs to be a part of the next generation. And I think I cried. I want to cry now, just thinking about it. But I love that, and I think that's why I'm passionate. Like, I have friends who are saying, I would love to have children, but I don't want to bring them into this world. And that sucks. Mm-hmm. You don't have faith in the world that you currently live in. That's not okay to me. It's not all right. And for those people, you have the power to change it. And I know it sounds exhausting. I know it sounds like you're trying to move mountains as an individual, but I'd like to say that sometimes it's just as easily said as it is done. And I just feel like we live in a society where that's a thing again. I feel like the world's different. It's not the same anymore. Everything that I'm pissed off and frustrated and venting about, it's already changing. It's already happening. Like, this is already current. And I don't know if you figured this out yet, or maybe I haven't mentioned it. Maybe I should have. My bad if I didn't. But I like these episodes because I feel like I vent about the things that haven't been going right. But the silver lining is that they're already improving. It's just a lot of people haven't figured it out yet. So, this is our new society. Education's changing. I know teachers who are teaching the next generation, and they're awesome. They're awesome humans, awesome individuals, awesome friends, and they're people that I would love to have teaching my children. I think I'm going to make sure that happens, actually, now that I think of it. But yeah, that's where I'm at. All joking aside, that's our episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Please comment below. I realize that I haven't been saying please like, share, and subscribe. So cool. That I
or die.
Macabre. He has one speed. We don't judge here. Love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for your support. And be interactive. Let's talk. Talk soon. Bye. Bro.
Boom.
Really? I feel like I was all over the place at the beginning.
Oh, what are you talking about?
All right.
Just shifting.
It was so messy.